In this video, I'll explain the most important events in the life of Jesus, from his birth to his resurrection and beyond. You'll learn how his message changed the world and continues to inspire people today. Jesus was born in Bethlehem, a small town in what is now Israel. His mother Mary and her husband Joseph were there because they had to travel for a census. It is said that Jesus was born in a stable because there was no room in the inn. Angels reportedly announced the birth of a special child to shepherds. Shortly after Jesus' birth, 3 wise men came from a distant land. They followed a bright star that led them to Jesus. The wise men brought gifts like gold, frankincense, and myrrh. They believed Jesus would be an important king. King Herod heard about Jesus and became afraid that he might lose his throne. He ordered all baby boys in Bethlehem to be killed. Joseph was warned in a dream and fled with Mary and Jesus to Egypt. They stayed there until Herod died. After Herod's death, the family returned to Nazareth. It was a small town where Joseph worked as a carpenter. Jesus grew up there like other children. At that time, no one knew how special he would become. When Jesus was 12, he traveled with his parents to Jerusalem. He stayed behind in the temple and spoke with the scholars about God. The wise men were amazed at how much he already knew. Mary and Joseph were worried and eventually found him there. When Jesus was an adult, he went to the Jordan River to be baptized. John the Baptist dipped him in the water as a sign of a new beginning. Suddenly the heavens opened and a voice said, "This is my beloved Son." Many saw this as a sign that Jesus was special. After his baptism, Jesus went into the desert and fasted for 40 days. There the devil tried to tempt him to do wrong. Jesus stayed strong and rejected everything. This showed how firm his faith was. Jesus began to travel through villages, telling people about God. He met fishermen like Simon and Andrew by the Sea of Galilee. He said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." They left everything and followed him. One day, Jesus spoke to a large crowd on a mountain. He explained how to live a good life, like showing love and forgiveness. His words were simple but wise. Many liked to listen and learn from him. Jesus could perform miracles, such as healing the sick. A man with a terrible skin disease came to him. Jesus touched him, and the man was instantly healed. People were amazed and told everyone about it. Once thousands came to hear Jesus speak and were hungry. He took 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish and shared them with everyone. Miraculously, the food was enough for over 5,000 people. Everyone was full and amazed by the miracle. Jesus was on a boat with his disciples when a fierce storm hit. The disciples were afraid the boat would sink. Jesus spoke to the wind and waves, and everything became calm. His friends could hardly believe it. Jesus often told stories to teach lessons. One was about a son who wasted his money and came back home in shame. His father forgave him and celebrated his return. This showed how important forgiveness is. Zacchaeus was a rich man who often cheated others. He wanted to see Jesus and climbed a tree because he was short. Jesus spoke to him, and Zacchaeus completely changed his life. He gave back the money and became honest. One day, parents wanted to bring their children to Jesus, but the disciples sent them away. Jesus said, "Let the children come to me." He liked children and said everyone should be as innocent as them. This made many people like him. Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey, and people cheered for him. They laid palm branches on the road and shouted, "Hosanna!" Many hoped he would free them from the Romans. It was a joyful yet important moment. Jesus had one last meal with his disciples before his death. He shared bread and wine and told them to do this to remember him. It was a sad evening because he knew what was coming. His disciples didn't understand yet. One of his disciples, Judas, betrayed Jesus for money. He led soldiers to Jesus and identified him with a kiss. Jesus was arrested even though he had done nothing wrong. The other disciples were shocked and saddened. Jesus was brought before the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. He was accused of calling himself king, which the Romans didn't allow. Pilate asked the crowd what should be done with Jesus. They shouted that he must die. Jesus was nailed to a cross and died after many hours. Soldiers watched over him, and his mother Mary wept below. Darkness fell, and the earth shook when he died. Many believed something great had happened. 3 days later, women went to Jesus' tomb, but it was empty. An angel told them Jesus had risen. They ran back and told the disciples. At first, no one could believe it. After his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples. They were scared at first, but then happy to see him again. He spoke with them and explained what had happened. This gave them new courage. A disciple named Thomas didn't believe Jesus was alive. He wanted to see the wounds to be sure. Jesus came to him and showed them. Thomas then believed and was ashamed of his doubt. Jesus told his disciples to go into the world and tell people about him. He wanted everyone to know about God's love. It was like a big mission for them. They prepared to go out. 40 days after his resurrection, Jesus rose into heaven. His disciples watched as he disappeared into the clouds. 2 angels told them he would return one day. They were sad but also hopeful. 10 days later, the Holy Spirit came upon the disciples. They heard a rushing sound and saw flames over their heads. Suddenly they could speak in other languages. This was the start of their mission. The disciples told everyone about Jesus, and many believed. That's how the first Christians were formed. They stuck together and prayed. They shared everything and helped each other. It was the beginning of a new community. The Romans and some leaders didn't like the Christians. The disciples were often arrested or punished. Still, they kept talking about Jesus. Their courage impressed many people. The story of Jesus spread far beyond Israel. Disciples like Paul traveled through many countries and preached about him. More and more people listened and became Christians. The movement kept growing. Christians believe that Jesus will come back one day. No one knows when that will be, but they wait for it. He is supposed to judge the world and make everything new. That gives many people hope for the future.